I'm guessing that's what the guns are for then. They're not going to trigger till I get past a certain point. Yep, can hear it. Woo! Come on. Don't blow me up. Oh no! Oh no, oh no, oh no. That's not good at all. You're supposed to have the rocket launcher by this point. Did I miss something? Maybe this will do. Ah! Oh, bollocks, I'm gonna blow up. Didn't get it. It's still there. Missed it. Woo! It sent me a long way back. You gone? Alright. There's an extra towel thing in here. Yep, there we go. Ugh. Disappointing. Health though, that's cool. I hope that means it's gone. I'm not going to quick save yet until I know for sure. Did it still destroy this? Alright. Oh! Whoa! Okay, right. He comes up further than I thought. Alright, yeah, let's quick save here. Now, I always thought there was a nasty thing in here. But I don't remember. I don't know whether they did put it in or not. Into the unknown. I hate Frozen 2. I shouldn't be singing that. Ah! You git! Mother... I knew it! I knew it! I knew it! I knew it! Leave me alone, please. Let me up. Or let me down. Where are you? There you are. There's two of you! Die! No! Alright. Yeah, Half-Life 2 had some frustrating moments. Yep. It's me gone. Now that ladder... Is it broken? I couldn't get up it. Dragon. The hoverboat section in Half-Life 2 and the on a rail section in this Half-Life were way too long. Like, exhaustively long. Ah! Don't get me! Woo! How are there two of you? Go away. Oh, it's dead. Alright. Yeah. Good God. 10 health. I didn't mind the ones in Halo. Halo was cool because it really felt like you were actually, you know, there was a purpose to it. But with something about the Half-Life ones just did not work for me. And it was very frustrating how arduous they were. And there was so much repetition to it. Yeah, it did feel kind of arbitrary in the first one. And I'm really glad I think they kind of cut this one down. It didn't feel like that long here. But maybe that was also because I'm used to the game. Oh yeah, the way that you would just fly around like the Mako in Mass Effect whenever you hit a bump was... I didn't like that. Do I have to go up the other one? Can I get up the other one? Cannot swim any faster. Swim faster if you use your arms, Gordon. Fine, okay. 2 o'clock. I've been in a speedboat, but I've never driven one. Yeah, they are heavier than people think they are. You need a license for a jet ski? Wow. I like vehicles like that. I like the shape of them. One of the vehicles I really want is like a skidoo, like a snowmobile. Woo, where am I going? Where am I going? Oh, I guess I'm going somewhere. Okay. Wow. I just love that kind of, that tapered nose. That's a really cool vehicle to me. Am I crouching? I feel really short. No. Woo. Yeah, good job avoiding that. 15 years? Jeez, that seems ridiculously harsh. But then again, we are talking about the police, so they're not exactly fair. Oh yeah, I guess it's the Coast Guard's jurisdiction. I mean, to a degree, I can see needing some kind of lesson, but, you know, a license, it's like... Woo! You know, I feel like a jet ski is a little more like a bike, or like a quad bike, an ATV. You don't need a license for an ATV, right? Yeah, you can do the 1, 2, 3, 4, but I'm not quite dexterous enough for that. I will hit the wrong one repeatedly, so I'd rather scroll through and look at him. I should try more, but... Yeah, I got this. I could press the number keys. Where am I going? Oh no, don't give me choices. Oh, buggery. Oh no, okay, cool. Ooh, that's a nice water effect. Okay. Not sure how much I trust. Let me try the other direction first. It may actually have like a proper forward and back buttons. My mouse is not a gaming mouse. I'm worried about pressing it now in case it does something weird to the game. Oh, excuse me. Oh, oh, very... Oh, you! Go away! You... sold me out.
Power 25%.
And that's sealed. Okay, so I have to go this way. Surface access. Is that broken? Ooh. There's a quick save feature as well. But I've forgotten which button it is. Ah, Lord of all you survey. Oh, you dead? Okay. Oh, there's a bunch of stuff there. Okay. If I was really a PangolinFox, I could smash the window and grab those with my extra long tongue. It's not going to happen though. That would be one thing I would love to learn on Gmod, is to make my own sonar. I don't really know what games I would play with it because I don't want to play multiplayer, but I would just play around, and it would just be really cool to have a game where I could be my sonar. I guess that's why people play VR chat, and I really want something like that. But maybe in time, maybe I'll even learn how to do it myself. Ah, shaky. No. Alright, cool. Ooh, I remember that. Because I actually have everything I need to already run Gmod. I do also, basically, I do have Blender as well, but I have not done any of the YouTube, stop that, courses on how to do anything meaningful with it. And I really should, because I do have more time than I used to now. But oh, wow, that sounds cool. No! Oh, I don't like you. Yeah, that's kind of what happens with me as well. I get sucked into Twitter and not even particularly... I'm not really looking for anything specific, but just trying to keep an eye on stuff that's happening. Because there's something that happens every day. There's some new development, whether it's a fandom thing or whether it's a current events thing. The need to stay connected is kind of dire. And it's frustrating that a lot of news outlets kind of, they hook you into that. This whole clickbait stuff, I hate it. Clickbait titles or just anything to make you think that, I mean, the world, there are horrific things going on in the world, and it is important to be aware of them and aware of how to keep your own spaces safe. I don't think it's worth, I think it's more dangerous to insulate yourself from that and, you know, I think it's dangerous. Insulation and isolation can be dangerous in that way, but there is obviously a point where it gets to be too much, and for your own health, you just have to know what your balance is between, okay, I have this much energy that I can devote to activism, and I have this much energy that I need to devote to myself in order to keep existing. Both of those things can exist at once, but finding that balance when it's so easy to just keep scrolling, because not only is it low energy, it also takes away your energy as well, I think. You know, you can get a rush for like notifications on a good post or something like that, or, you know, something of yours really takes off, but the temporary nature of it means that you have to always keep going in order to find more. And I think that can be a very bad thing for anyone to get sucked into that. And I know I do. I am way too invested in some things on Twitter at times. I really don't want to be. Yeah, setting a really strict time limit is really good. Oh yeah, people like Buck Angel, all this kind of, whether it's true scum stuff or you know, just gatekeeping discourse about LGBT identities, or just something, you know, obviously when it's someone in your community, like when there's a YouTuber or for a YouTuber or something that is insanely popular, that just, you know, it's important to know that you are also not harming people by allowing bad people into what should be a safe space. Those are things that I think everyone should really be aware of without necessarily, you know, causing inflammation of. But it's hard to people who see sharing information as conflict or as, you know, awareness as some kind of personal insult or detriment is something that I really object to. Awareness is vital for a safe community. Why am I here? Oh yeah, like especially in the case of abusers, you don't know whether there is someone around you who has also been hurt by these people. And I think that it's really dangerous to just assume that, oh, because it hasn't affected me, I don't have to do anything. That kind of complicit silence that helps these people keep abusing others, or just, oh, it's a dead end, or just means that the victims never get the kind of help or closure or support that they need in order to move on. I don't want to be that kind of person that lets my spaces become harmful to people who have been hurt. I want my spaces to be safe and to be safe, to be aware, to always keep learning and progressing. Yeah, the bugs are like grenades. They're kind of cool, actually. Let me see if I can demonstrate one, because I don't really use them very much. Woo! They eat people. Whoops. They'll distract him. Yeah, it's really hard, especially when you know someone is bad, but they have a really voracious support network to do an awful lot about it. It feels like your hands are tied, because even though you know someone is objectively bad, you just can't do anything. Bugger. Yeah. I mean, even just someone with 3,000 or 4,000 followers can be intimidating enough, because it depends on the nature of people's support, whether they're very... I don't mess with alt-right trolls or anything like that. I pretty much just block, because it's who follows them is who follows them is kind of more important than how many people follow them. Because if you have someone who has a small amount of supporters, but the people they know will retweet and share to either a bigger or more militant audience, then that's when you're really in danger of getting hurt by your own activism and awareness. And it's really disgusting that there are people who are able to get away with this. Yeah, like, especially if you have anxiety, I do. There are times when I'm still, I still get like physically kind of shake when something happens, because I'm not ready, or I'm just not in a good place, or sometimes it is just scary. You don't want to be conflicted with people, but I think it's more important to at least try, at least be aware. You don't have to be the one that always steps in and solves something, but you can make your spaces better by cutting abusive people out of your feed so you don't pass them on to others. That's what I always try for. And listen to people who said, hey, do you know that this is going on? Even if I can't do anything about it, I'll at least go, yeah, thanks for letting me know. Yeah, I feel the same way, because, oh no. Where was that? Where are you? If a comment is not directed at you, but you see them being directed at maybe someone you care for, or people like you, whether it's like, trans folk, or when you see people railing against, drama furries or something like that, it is hard. It gets exhausting. It's exhausting to just to feel like you're fighting a tide of people who don't want to know. It's always feels like it's an uphill struggle against apathy. Like I actually used to be one of those furries that was like, oh, this person is too angry. I don't know if I can follow them anymore. It's too much. I don't like it. But oh no, whoops. When a furry that I really respected got doxxed, and actually had their life and livelihood put in danger by people who didn't want them to speak out anymore, that's when I realized how serious it was. And I realized that actually that me not being angry by me staying silent, that these people were always going to win. And even if what I do is quieter and less less directly confrontational than others, I will always do what I can to make sure that spaces are better and safer and, you know, just, you know, all around making the community, my spaces, the spaces that I do have direct influence over, making sure that they are the best they can be. You don't have to save the world all at once. But the bits that you can save, I will always try. Yeah, I have, the hard thing is, and I understand that people do better, and I really commend them for breaking free of cycles of hate. It's amazing, but the problem is you don't always know if you block a lot of people, and this is a problem I find. If you block a lot of people, you don't always remember why you've blocked them, or you know, you don't necessarily get to see their improvement. So I have to rely on others' interactions to see whether they're worth listening to. That's what that noise was earlier. Okay. The thing is, I don't want people to be excluded. I want the furry community to be big and amazing and full of these incredible diverse people. What I always want, is for people to listen and to assess their behavior and to change. It's not, I never want to shut people out, because I want friends. I want, you know, good people around, and I want to be able to enjoy things unapologetically and creatively, but I also want other people to know that they are safe in doing so. So that means that, you know, unfortunately, when people don't change their behavior, that they do have to be shut out, and they do have to be kind of, you know, ostracized and shown what they are missing out on by not opening their minds a little bit more and seeing where they hurt people. Well, I don't have that many people blocked on Twitter, I don't think, but it's getting near. It's probably getting near that amount, I guess. I haven't checked in a while. I don't really like it. Some of them, I mean, it's not necessarily an accurate count of how many individuals there are, because you get all these sock puppets and stuff like that. Like, some people have created like 5 or 6 accounts, and even some good people I know have had to create 5 or 6 separate accounts just because they keep getting mass reported by idiots. But the same is obviously for trolls and stuff like that too. Whoa! There are some alt-right griefers who have popped up time and again, who just keep creating like 7, 8, 9 accounts and keep on going. But each of those counts as an individual block. Oh, good job. Yeah, I got a couple of accounts for different reasons. It's useful, I feel, to have a secondary account just to, if nothing else, to keep an eye on stuff that you don't get to see because you have blocked people, or there's another one. I don't appreciate you doing this. Ooh. Why am I not hitting you? Okay. Ooh. Can I get up there? Yeah. I need this. Hopefully there's not a landmine underneath it. Yeah. 70%. Can I get more? How do you feel about someone who chooses to continue interacting with a harmful person with the intent of them seeing get help they need to try and address harm they've done? I really, it depends on my energy level as to how I feel about seeing others interact with people. There are people that I know that I am still in contact with who have had problems with others in the past, because they are people I have had faith in the past, and I want them to be the people that I know they can be. So I completely understand if there are others who are legitimately trying to give them the time to come to that understanding of their, their faults and something like that. But, it really has to be, they have to be shown to be, actually progressing and getting help and, like, doing something more than just existing and not changing. And I think that the person who is in contact with them also has to have that same mindset, like, actually, this is something we need to be working on. These are the people we need to be boosting. And if you're just kind of coasting along and not really addressing it, then I would rather invest my time in better people who are either already better or need the support to boost their voices. People who need boosting. So there is a need for community rehabilitation, and cutting people off outright doesn't allow them those opportunities. I'm going to save because this is going to be difficult. But at the same time, there are some things that will always be unforgivable. There are things that nobody has to accept in their community, and they don't owe anyone the patience or time to help them. So it's up to those who do have the time and the energy and the patience to do that, but they don't necessarily have to be, oh no, all right, down I go. Yeah, forgiveness is not an obligation. You don't have to be, you don't have to forgive, and you certainly don't have to forget. People think that forgiveness is a given, and it's not, because some things will always be too hurtful. You can acknowledge when someone is changing or trying to change, but that doesn't mean that you have to accept them in your space. You do not have to make yourself feel unsafe because everyone else is okay with them. But I think, social media creates this obligation to connect and network, especially in a niche fandom where everyone has this kind of fear of missing out on protected content and stuff like that. I think that's something we're big enough now to get past. We don't need that. We don't need to be doing that anymore. We don't need to be safeguarding every single creator just because they create something we like, if they are actually abusive or hurtful or anything like that. It's probably not an obstacle. Maybe I can get up it. No. Okay. Yeah, especially for victims. There are things that they will never. You can't unexperience something. You can't be unhurt by something. You should not be stuck living in the moment of your trauma, but that's your journey and your decision to how you progress with that. I totally understand if there are people I'm friends with that other people are not friends with for, arguments or something like that. Yeah, no, you're welcome. Sorry that if my verbosity about it is kind of not very good on it. because I'm shooting a lot of people right now, but I'll always try my best to speak up and be kind of coherent. This is why I write better. I spend so much time on Twitter because... Where are you? Who did that? Because I can't edit my thoughts live. Okay, you're going to need this sniper. Oh, this is annoying. Too explosive. Heck yeah. Did not get you. There's another one. Yeah. Typos are awful. Live chats are bad for typos. Even when I'm in Telegram chats, I edit my chats all the time. Why there's so many of you? I'm gonna save because I don't know what I have to do next. Can I? Is that a rope? Can I jump across? Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, it's a barnacle. Well, that's unfortunate. Oh, okay. There we go. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on the chat. Churches. Jeez, churches, institutional religions do so much harm. I don't have a problem with faith. I do have a problem with faith that destroys others by way of unnecessary hate, cloaking bigotry in hopeful words and something like that. Churches are horrible for that. Specific sects of churches, but overall, a lot of them. Okay, save again. You know, and I know that I'm not perfect. There are going to be people who because of the way social media works, they're going to be people I've missed. That I completely understand if other people are uncomfortable interacting with me because I interact with someone who they are not comfortable with, but I don't know about. I'm not obliging anyone and everyone to come forward if they're not ready for it. Oh, I don't like that sound. But I completely understand that there are going to be times that I'm going to be interacting with someone that may be an abuser that I'm not aware of. And I'll always try my best to not to do that. To do the best for everyone. But I also understand that takes a lot of emotional labor on the part of victims and or other people, and they've been through a lot already. So I also understand if they just don't have the energy or the capacity and just want to be quiet and keep safe and worry about that when they have time to do so. I'm never going to oblige anyone to relive their trauma for my, on my behalf for any reason. Oh, I don't like this. Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I block very liberally, so I, typically if I see someone that I'm not happy with, oh, how do I get out? Then I will block them, and I don't really castigate others for it, but if they come up and they try to message me and just say, hey, have you seen this? I'll be like, that's when I tend to have the conversation of like, actually, this person has done this or done that, or even just say, okay, cool, I understand, but where am I? Alright, so one way or another I feel like I'm gonna die in a second. I've had a few messages about people lying about their age, and because my Twitter is safe for work, it's not as much of an issue to me because I'm not hopefully not sharing anything that's going to get me or them in danger. But when it comes to like private conversations, that's always something that it's best to know, just because you know, obviously I don't want to get into sticky situations later down the line where someone is, not that I'm really overtly sexual with anyone particularly, but you know, it just like it's just good to bear in mind, you know, because even Telegram stickers, those can get you into trouble too. I would rather people be honest about their age up front and work into the adult spaces as they are legally able to. But I also understand that I was a very horny teenager and I got what I wanted. Not directly interacted with anyone, I just browsed online galleries and stuff like that. What I never did was directly endanger anyone specifically by interacting with them, because I never did. I didn't like the idea of doing that online. So yeah, I guess that was my illegality as a minor. But I never endangered anyone else personally by requesting like private access to galleries or messaging people or anything like that. Because that is dangerous. It is like horrifically dangerous to do that. You see, when I was in a reenactment group when I was 15, 16, and we had a few kids in the group. And you know, obviously, it's a reenactment group, so a very mishmash of ages. Because you have people who have been around for years and years. So a lot of the people that I knew were adults. I didn't have very many friends in high school or sixth form. Oh no, that's where I was supposed to go. Nope. But I agree that it can set a dangerous precedent if you are going to be interacting with adults, to make sure that you're safeguarding yourself, and as an adult that you are safeguarding your responsibility. And like, especially if a minor comes onto you as an adult, you are the one that has the responsibility to say no. I don't give a crap about, but they consented. Your responsibility. You are the one that has to say no. You are the one that has the responsibility to go, this is not correct, this is not right, and I will not do this. I think there are too many people who make a free pass on that and go, oh well, but they were okay with it. That's not the point. Yeah, it should be 2 separate Telegram packs, because there are people who are just going to where is that sentry gun? Yeah, I think it's much smarter to have 2 packs, one for adult spaces and one for safer workspaces. Because I don't have a problem with anyone's sexual expression, any adult's sexual expression. And you know, puberty is a very weird thing, and I understand that also minors are going to be horny, but I think that there has to be utmost responsibility because you're not, as much as like to say that you are in control of stuff, it's very different. Stop it. Oh no. Group chats are really bad for that. Because it's really hard to immediately delete them. And you can't, you know, because they'll still pop up for a second, and then you have to, like, it takes a second for that to kind of register. Yeah, especially if your audience is minors, and you know that your audience is minors, you have to be really careful about what you have in your spaces, what you allow publicly, what you allow, you know, even privately. You know, because especially if you're building yourself a platform, which a lot of furries do consciously and subconsciously, yes, minors should have, and you know, they do have an awareness of what is right and wrong. But I feel like there are too many furries who just kind of ignore those boundaries because they want the content and they want the interaction. It's a very irresponsible way of thinking. Whoops. Yeah, like, that was a feature that... Oh, no. I think that's a feature that Telegram should have, is being able to mark individual stickers as not safe for work, so that they can be filtered. That would just be a really cool feature. Because the... I don't mind adult stuff, but there was a chat I was in, there was a Strictly Safe for Work chat, and someone posted a really, it was definitely not safe for work, but it was more like suggestive sticker, and I was really not comfortable with it, and they kept trying to make excuses for it, saying, oh, you know, oh, it's just liquid, it's just water, and I'm like, you know it's not. You know exactly what it is, and I really was not comfortable with that. You know, oh no. There we go. It wasn't the jar, no. It was something else. Where was I? Some more crouching. Yeah, and it's the same reason behind if you are... Oh no, I missed it! You know, what was I saying? My feelings are running ahead of my mouth, my ability to speak. Yeah, if you do not lock your account and you say, oh well, it's not my responsibility, then you are going to have people who are going to flout that responsibility, and you're the one that's going to be, you know, in trouble for it. Oh, we are even further down. I landed! I should try and speak or game instead of doing both at once. Oh. There we go. Yeah, okay, quick save time. Yeah, there's a difference between someone who infiltrates your spaces deceptively and one who, and you know, you kind of tacitly enabling it, like someone, I won't mention any other streamers, but I know a few who are very well aware of the fact that they have minors following them and still post explicit content and kind of, you know, they flout plausible deniability to say, oh well, you know, they should know, they shouldn't be here, but they don't have any safeguards against keeping that content from them. And it's irresponsible, it's rude, and you know, and it's actually, to me, feels very predatory when people do that. Because it's like they're trying to tacitly enable it, but not make it their responsibility to be enabling it. Like it's that kind of deliberate accident kind of thing that, oh well, if they're in my spaces, then they must be an adult, and I didn't know that they were underage or whatever like that.
5% power level. level is 100%.
Yeah, and I know that there are a lot of streaming platforms that bar 18 plus content. Some don't, you know, some live streams may not actually catch it unless it's reported. Where am I? People should... Oh, that's no good. Viewer restrictions. I think I get what you mean. I'm just concentrating on other things right now. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, if you like, certain accounts can't be followed unless you are over a certain... Yeah, I think that's a good idea. You can have that. You can have those account settings. Leave it down. I think Twitter kind of relies on mass communication, though I don't think they're ever going to implement anything like that. Because then you could set your own... This is one thing I really like about Mastodon and spaces like Snouts Online and a lot of other places that have very specific content guidelines and restrictions and stuff like that. And a lot of... Like, you can see content but restrict access to certain posts. That, I think, is a really good way of doing it too. There needs to be this kind of platform where people can basically restrict individual posts to certain facets of their audience. The danger with that, though, would be that people restricting their, like, you know, then you always get these kind of crypto fascists that are endangering their, you know, hiding crypto fascist content and, you know, hiding their power level is what they call it, so that nobody really understands how bad they are at everything with everything, you know. That's the danger that I don't really want. Oh, it's a tank. There are enough furries who masquerade as nice when they're really not. I don't really want a platform that enables that and gives them even more deniability and safe harbor. Sorry, the auto mod has banned the mention of whatever website you're talking about. Oh, Snouts. Yeah, I love it. I really love it. I'm not on there as much as I really ought to be. But it's a really good space. It's run by some really incredible furries who are really good about keeping their community safe. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. The space doesn't open super often. Oh no. Oh god, that was terrible. Server space doesn't open up there super often, but it's a really good space with good people and a good crowd. I feel really lucky to have got a space on there, and I've met some really cool people, and actually some people who have migrated to there from Twitter. Like, yeah, there's some really cool furries that I can now only see there because they were suspended from Twitter after being mass reported by transphobes. Oh wow, this is awful. Ugh. Where the heck do I go? Oh wow, geez, it's right there. Yikes. Yeah, I follow them. Yeah, there are two people that I really like keep getting suspended on Twitter for the same reason. They keep getting mass reported by people. And I really wish that there was some way of safeguarding it, but Twitter doesn't care. It's really, really... It's ridiculous, the lack of care they have. Yep, that's one of them. Did I go up here? I think that's where I got shot last time. Yeah. That's the problem when Twitter is such a massive... when it is such a massive hub, when someone goes down, you know, they may not always have the means to reconnect again. Oh, wow! Yikes, yikes, yikes. I feel like I've been really lucky so far. I don't want to push... And that's always the problem with speaking out, because you want to be aware, and you know that fascists are bad, and you know that racists are bad, and you know that transphobes are terrible. But you also know that every time you speak out, the wrong person might see it and completely upend your account, your presence, and your kind of social circle and your history with all these different things. Like, I've made some things on Twitter that I've been really proud of, and, you know, the wrong person seeing that would completely lose it. Everything that I felt like I kind of worked for it. And yeah, it does affect, like, especially when you're in a non-visual art, you're a non-visual artist on Twitter, or in any kind of social media spaces, especially in furry, you know, when your visibility is reduced, it is so much harder to build that back up again. I'm lucky that I have a fairly decent library of fursuit photos. But, you know, at the same time, I don't want that to be my legacy, because I write. I want to be creating, you know, adventures and being able to build a platform from that. But it's so hard, and musicians have exactly the same struggle, because it takes that much more to invest in a piece of music than it does a piece of art. And Twitter is not a very good space for... it's not a really good gallery anyway. It's not very good for... come on. Bollocks. Yeah, Twitter relies on very quick... quick, easily digestible content. What was that? Right, that's you down. I have no problem with people who reshare stuff on Twitter, because sometimes you just need that to be seen. The fact that timing can be so bad as to completely reduce your visibility is ridiculous. Did I get it? No, the tank is still there. I'm so glad that... didn't hit. Yeah. Yeah, the amount of extra stuff I've had to do at work means that my Twitter capacity has been greatly slowed down. And, you know, something happens, you can come back and like, wow, what has completely upended my social network? Ugh. You know, stuff can happen just overnight and have it be, you know, really bad. Oh, stop that. And I can see why so many people base their friendships off what happens at conventions instead of social media. Like, oh well, they're like nice in person. I'm like, yeah, many are, but also people get away with stuff. Social media is both a great and horrible monster. Bollocks. Come on, reload. Yeah, and in person you get all these kind of, you know, you can get people who very much mask in person. Like, they can mask online too. And especially when they're around, if you know that they're very popular too, they can absolutely advantage that. And I think it's really insidious. This is one of the reasons I don't tend to hang around with popular crowds so much. Because I just can never tell when someone is being genuine or whether it's kind of a facade. Why did I shoot that lock off then? Can I get in there? No. Whoa, no, 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 no. Where are you, extra people? I'm gonna hide in here and save again. Yep, there we go. Yeah, you're not wrong. There are, you know, people are way more forgiving to uwu fursuits and stuff like that than they are people who say have no fursuit, or, you know, they're like attractive people. As much as we like to say that furry is a place where people can be themselves, there are still a lot of gatekeepers and people who are very much do play favourites with you know, whether it's body types or gender or something like that. You know, like there was always this subset of people that think that furry is explicitly for cis gay femboys and stuff like that, and that's just absolutely not the case. It very much frustrates me when people have that kind of disingenuity wherein they'll make themselves famous on memes or fursuit posts and all these kind of inclusive things, and then you'll have them, you know, 2 posts down in the comments saying, well, actually asexuality isn't a thing, or like, you know, you're not part of this, or women, I have a problem with women in the fandom, or something like that. You know, all those lovely, lovely sentiments that just add to this sense of elitist hierarchy that is one of the reasons that many of us came to furry in the first place, is to escape that crap. Oh, you saw True Scum stuff too? I can still see the auto mod stuff, but it won't turn up in the chat. The more I learn about trans stuff, the more I hate the True Scum ideals. I got very annoyed when there was an Instagram furry who I otherwise really liked and admired for being outspoken about trans issues, turned out to be True Scum, and I'm like, well, you're not really doing your best for trans folk, are you? You know, then they were telling everyone that they were really proud to be a trans medicalist. I'm like, you are probably just very sucked into that, you know, what are their names? Buck Jones, ContraPoints mindset, because they're popular YouTubers with a particular image that exploits young people's ignorance to build their platforms of, you know, yeah, exactly. You know, there's a massive, massive issue with privilege taking over identity, or privilege becoming an identity, and also affecting those who think that that becomes the norm, that privilege becomes a virtue, and it becomes, you know, that popularity and the ability to have this thing automatically makes them good. You know, popularity is just a circumstance. It doesn't make you good. You know, because there are film stars there are people you get to see every day and they may create content which is actually irrelevant to who they are as a person, but you know that it directly advantages them. I think it's important for people to understand that when you support content from an awful person, you are giving them a platform which will hurt others. And that there are times that... Hang on, sorry. There we go. You know, the kind of separation of art and artist thing. You can't separate an artist from their platform, and you can't separate an abusive artist from their platform, because you will always, by sharing it, by boosting it into people's view, by giving them ad revenue, you're allowing them to keep perpetuating these hurtful stereotypes or views or, you know, outright hate. And actually that it's important to recognize when their content is actually, they are separating their own content from their personality in order to advantage it, like this furry who was all about trans rights and then used their trans medicalism in the comments to kind of completely denounce either non-binary people or you know, go on about how the trans experience is trauma and something like that. There has to be this kind of balance between understanding that both those things can exist at once, that you can have someone who has disingenuous content, but also that doesn't mean that you completely separate them from it because they are what they produce. It just doesn't mean that they necessarily support it. I hope that makes sense. Oh no. I don't want to come across as contradictory. That wasn't very good. Ow! Ow! Jeez. I'm really, really lucky that I have an amazing family. Both my sisters, my parents, they are really, and my uncles too, are really, really good. You know, there are times when I do have very dysphoric moments, very visceral, emotional, dysphoric moments, but that isn't what defines my identity as a trans person. There are times when I've felt incredible expressing myself in ways that I have always wanted to. Gender euphoria is a massive and incredible experience that helps so much in helping me find my identity, and rooting the trans experience in trauma means that you're telling people that they must be hurt. You know, that hurt is this kind, it's the same kind of idea that a lot of fundamentalist Christians have, that, you know, to suffer is divine, and romanticizing it is really, really bad. Teaching young kids that they can't have an identity unless they essentially hurt themselves is terrible. We need this normalization of diverse gender to help people understand that they can be who they already know they are, or they can be someone that they can have this ability to find themselves over time, that they don't have to suffer as other people have in order to be valid. Oh geez. Yeah, and I love the creation of commissions and stuff like that. Obviously, you're not always going to be able to produce your own stuff. But I think that when people kind of romanticize oh, Ah, you get... Whoop! There we go. Woo! Helicopter limb. Okay. Yeah, there are people who steal memes, who steal content, or you know, everything is made for them, and they have this. That comes down to that privilege thing again. When they buy everything, there's always that idea that actually, and they don't give anything back to the community. They're not necessarily building anything, but kind of always, other than supporting artists, obviously, and giving them a place to advertise their stuff. You know, does that privilege become their substance, you know? Like people who are famous for becoming famous, if you suddenly run a bunch of giveaways or produce, you know, buy a load of content and spread it around, is like, okay, cool, you know, that's really nice. It's supporting the fandom and the artistry, but what is your identity outside of that? I think that when you're essentially like buying popularity and building a network out of that, you end up creating these kind of divisions of superficiality where you do have that kind of, you know, privilege becomes... people confuse the ability to buy commissions with value. And, you know, to an artist, it's a living. It is important to have that. But to... You know, I don't want my persona to be all that I'm, or my commissions to be all that I am to others around me. And it's easy to make excuses. It becomes easy for content-focused fans to become, to ignore someone's transgressions when they're focusing on the content being the reason that they like them. Like content that they buy from other people. And I think it's important, if you're a good person, if you're helping people, that's what I always try and do, is improve myself, and I don't see myself as more special than any other particular furry. I've been lucky that I've been able to afford a good number of commissions, and I've built my own fursuits and stuff like that. I haven't really... I don't feel like I've offered that much else. There are people who do amazing art that speak out way more than I do, that have actively helped people, you know, overcome emotional struggles, that have, you know, done so much incredible stuff. They are the people that I think are important, the ones who speak out, the ones who really make an effort to make furry a safe and creative and progressive space. That's what I find more valuable than people who are always commissioning or, you know, producing weird YouTube content like how to be a fox and stuff like that. Because I don't really... Yeah, it's cool kind of ooh escapism stuff, but what I want is to know that I can be me in a space meant for people like me. And you know, what is meaningful to me are people who help me do that. I'm kind of rambling a lot, sorry. I don't know if that all makes sense. Wow, where are you? Whoop, you're right over there. Oh, you bastard. Can I not get in from that side? Oh, you know what, stop it. There we go. Way! Down you go.